What's guys, this is a brand new video. So that's kind of part of, the like series I did called Zombolics for The Walking Dead. I'm gonna be doing that for Fear the Walking Dead. Now before we get into episode 2 of season 4, and I think I like to give a little bit of a caution for spoilers for Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead a little bit. We'll top right into Fear the Walking Dead episode 2. Now this episode is absolutely freaking amazing, but we're only gonna be breaking down the big part that happens during the episode, which we're all freaking questioning in our heads, is who is the Vultures and what's their deal with the stadium or Madison's group. Now I recently came to the show during season 4, and I think it's been a really good show so far, but we've not had really an enemy yet. But during this episode, we were introduced to a group called the Vultures, led by this guy named Mel. Now Mel, which is kind of like the character from The Walking Dead, which was Negan or anything, he's kind of similar, but he didn't really make a harsh entrance. He did threaten to kind of kill them, but he didn't, like Negan did off the bat with The Walking Dead. But there were some really key points that we kind of missed during the episode that's really kind of led to this moment or kind of foreshadowed it. So as you guys know, when Mel or the Vultures came around or anything, they were talking about Nick and everything, which as you guys know, Nick is this kind of I guess guy that's scared to go outside or anything because it's something that happened in the past and everything. But they kind of Mel kind of mentioned to Madison or anything, saying that, oh, Nick better get those crops going and everything, because as you guys know, the crops and everything inside the stadium are having some issues with some sort of form of bug that are killing them or infecting them. And she was like, how do you know who Nick is and how do you know his name? And Nick was even confused, but he was staying at the gate and everything, so I'm not sure if he heard him, but he just seemed really confused. So as you guys know, Charlie, the little girl that was brought into the stadium and everything, kind of eating for The Walking Dead, she walked over to Mel and everything. It was really confusing and mind-boggling. You were what? Wait, what? She was a traitor the entire time? How she was working for them? But there obviously was a kind of a point that I think we missed during the episode, where when Nick was walking over to Charlie and everything, when she was messing with the radio probably she was using to contact the Vultures or Mel and everything and tell him about the crops and everything, to have him give a deal and say about Nick and everything. Now the way the Vultures were introduced and everything, which was really quite interesting. Now this character, I'm not sure what his name is or anything, but him and another character were helped pushing in a car that Mel attempted to drive out to go look for Madison, the group. But all of a sudden, one of the lookouts on the stadium or anything said, everyone run in, you two run in, are pushing the car and everything. And they looked behind them, and all these trucks with flashlights, these huge trucks, keep in mind, basically U-Hauls, gigantic U-Hauls, started driving towards them and everything, all flashing lights. There's tons of flashing lights coming towards them with trucks and everything, tons of trucks. And they just just drive up, they start unloading, everyone starts getting out of the cars and everything, basically setting up shop they're at one of those things that they have outside football things. They start setting up chairs, setting up this flag. Now this flag and everything is really interesting, because obviously as you guys know, in episode 1 we saw a flag that's I think 51. It's kind of these gray flags and everything, blank besides a number and everything, kind of a little bit of an outpost name. But we found in this episode that's what the Vultures do to show that they've taken over a camp. And obviously in the episode, I think Madison was saying, what are these big flags for? Why do you do them? Now obviously it's pretty obvious and everything, is that's what they used to show that they've taken over a compound, because in episode 1 of season 4 and everything, we saw the characters Al, Morgan, and John. They showed up to a place and everything, and there was a huge banner there that just said I think 51, and that must mean that place was destroyed by the Vultures or taken over by the Vultures or Mel. So this was a crazy episode. I think I would give it at least at minimum 8 out of 10. It was a really good episode, and I just joined the Fear the Walking Dead and everything, and I already love this series. I absolutely love it. I feel I'm gonna be watching it tons back and everything, The Walking Dead. But make sure to stay tuned for more Fear the Walking Dead videos and more The Walking Dead videos. This is my first episode of Zombolics on Fear the Walking Dead. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, my amigos, and stay walking the dead. Damn it, that was cringy.